How are you? Make yourself comfortable first.
That's why I need patience.
No
Yeah.
problem. Thank Commissioner, where's your
Yeah, yeah, where anyway?
He's the man who's patient at the bank.
It's somebody with a private practice, I'm sure you knows that. Every once in a
How does
while,
that-
it's crazy.
Michael's gonna deal with the Bronx first. Maybe a long, maybe quick, because it's a lot of them is the same issue, so.
Yeah.
So Michael.
Oh,
why don't
should
you
we,
start?
are we?
Oh, you wanna start?
Started it. Yeah.
Okay. Today is Thursday, July 10th, 2014. This is the Commissioners' Coversheet Review Committee meeting of the Commissioners Simon Shamoon and Jose Araju, who have been designated pursuant to the Board's designated petition rules to serve as the Commissioners' Committee for Coversheet and related matters today. Commissioners, Michael Fassetti will present the Bronx first to you.
All of these designated petitions affiliated with these cover sheets all have the same defect. They are all individual designating petitions for a county committee. However, none of them are numbered, the sheet numbers on the bottom of the pages.
Conservative, and this is for the Conservative Party. So
Yes.
This is curable, right?
Yes.
All right.
Page numbering defects based on the decision of the Appellate Division, 4th Department, written by Judge Piggott. And now in the Court of Appeals, we have followed that practice for the last 4 years, I believe.
Do we have to initial each single?
Yes, each one, because each one is for a different part of the ADs, please. What else do you have? Because then you're going to have to start with the letters. What I did realize, Commissioners, in the future, next year, we're going to change the rule.
After doing this side,
What?
this side, right?
Yes, Republican Kings. What we're gonna do is change the rules for next year in cases like this, recommend that we name the first named persons in the committee to fill vacancies, which is currently not in our rules, so that we would reduce the volume of correspondence having to go out. Because in this case, it's all the same persons on the first name person. Right now, with the rules, is we either gotta do the contact person, the candidate. If we added that, we would have reduced it a lot. We never thought of that until this afternoon.
I'm just saying it's a lot of letters that need to go out because of that.
Defect on this next cover sheet, there is an indication post the name 00H that does not appear on the petition.
It's marked. I think the cover sheet's defective. There is an additional information here that's not on the petition. So they would ask to correct the cover sheet to conform to the petition.
That's all.
You have enough work. Go upstairs, have fun with letters.
Let me ask you a question. Do we have to verbalize or
No.
just the
Yeah,
signatures enough?
No, this is your approval if you want, yeah. Because we have a written documentation, each of you signing in your individual box, there is a permanent record as required by the Freedom of Information Law, how each commissioner voted. You want to do Queens next?
Sure, just one.
Since that's easy, I wanted to get rid of you.
I see folders over there.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Manhattan, yeah.
So for the county committee, Democratic Party, 38th AD, the address left out is street.
On the schedule, on the petition.
Okay.
No, the commission is no street.
Just on the schedule.
It's
Right,
your,
right,
right,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I only look-
Petition is fine. When you finish your letters, see what kind of help you can give to Michael.
Yeah.
Manhattan?
One for this one, on both the cover sheet and the petition for candidate David Kogelman, alternate delegate for the Democratic Convention. His address lists Riverside Drive Avenue, which is not in this. It's not, doesn't exist.
It's not in the records, does that mean it?
This is his address, Riverside Drive.
Seems like an error, right?
Well, two things. We were recommending commissioners, one, that the cover sheet be deemed defective because it lists an address that is not listed in our system, and then we give them a prima facie notice to see if they want to cure the petition itself. It would be covered if they timely file a printer's letter. That will be up to you to decide as a full board. But the cover sheet clearly it's an incorrect address. It just matches, it just doesn't exist, and that's why we gave you a copy of the printout.
Right, but the issue with the petition can't be resolved only at a hearing.
It could be done with a printer's errors letter, which would then be presented to you when the prima facie issue is considered. And given past practice, absent showing of fraud, we've accepted the printer's letters. I think truly, this is a printer's letter. They had the word avenue.
Right, so what I'm saying is, the printer's letter will come before us at the hearing.
Yes.
It's not gonna go to another subcommittee.
It would be a prima facie. They would have an opportunity to submit. Hopefully, they'll submit it in writing before the hearing. So we'll have it ready, and we can present those to you and maybe move the hearings along a little bit.
Are there other volumes with this issue?
Not that specific one. No.
Okay.
It's only, the Commissioner, it's only, no, we do have they listed all the volumes. I think it's all the volumes for this slate.
This one, something similar for male member state committee for the Democrats, 73rd. If you look at the zip code for Mr. Foa, it's only 4 digits on both the cover sheet and the petition.
That's missing a zero.
So we give them basically the same cure opportunities. One for the cover sheet, one for the prima facie for the hearing.
And the election law directs that the petition has to be completely accurate, right? What's the
It's-
case law say?
The case law says that you have to have the complete resident address, and if the mailing address is different, both have to be set forth on the petition. And I think we looked at it specifically, especially for the purposes of serving specs. Since you have to send it by certified mail, the Postal Service will require a zip code for that type of mailing.
Right. I mean, I can definitely see that with this one, because this one will be rejected because of the zip code, right off the bat from the post office.
The other one may or may not.
Right.
Well, it
Still might
depends.
make its way
Well,
there.
I think given the way it's put together, right. Riverside Drive Avenue, Riverside Drive, it may actually get there. I think it would be.
And the zip code.
Right.
Right.
And if it was, that's complete. But I think again, where the aim again is to seek to get accuracy. And again, this is a question of just proofing.
Okay, for this one, something similar. Republican alternate delegate to the Judicial District Convention. On both petitions, the address is listed as CPW. We're calling that incomplete.
Is CPW a common,
This is the way we have it in our system, and that's the registered with now, so. I know of a TV show that was on called CPW, but I don't know if the postal is going to deliver it that way or not. Again, we're supposed to have a complete address.
but it's on both? But this might not be a printer's error.
Oh, I think it may have been. Well, how do I say this?
This is different.
I think the printer who prepared this was given the information to CPW. Maybe, as I said, the way it's written on the voter registration form submitted by the candidate, it's written out with the apartment number. But again, we're not looking at apartment numbers, it's just Central Park West. Again, Giacomo didn't know what CPW was. I had a sense of it because of, only because of the TV show. It was based here in New York.
So what's your recommendation?
Recommendation is similar, 2 notices, one on to deal with the cover sheet issue, to correct it, the other listed as prima facie for the hearing, and see if they're gonna come in with a printer's letter.
Do you think a printer's letter will?
Commissioner, that's up to you to see. I think it depends what the printer says. I think if the printer says that he did it based on the information received, that he thought it was commonly understood,
Well, that's not curing it.
I don't, well, he'll give us the correct thing. He did it because that's the way the information was provided, which may not be enough. Especially when this comes.
Right.
Right, it would have to be
Right.
his error, not theirs.
Right, it'd have to say that they provided you with Central Park West.
Exactly. And I made the error.
Right.
Well, depending, I guess, it's up to the principal who wants to admit the, the printer, or the principal.
They could be
said
the
error.
printer as well.
Yeah. I don't
These
think
days.
so. Look at this one. This is the professional printed version.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So we'll maybe maybe we'll see what the printer's gonna say. So,
Okay, so for the Green Party State Committee, for the addresses on both the petition and the cover sheet, they've omitted the zip code.
Again, we're recommending two notices, one dealing with the cover sheet, one prima facie. See, part of our problem is even when we send the notices out by express mail, we don't have zip codes for them. I don't even know if it's gonna get delivered.
Is it not wouldn't we not take the further step and, I mean, notice is separate from copying what's on here.
I know we've come before this, on this issue, what have we done with it in the past?
We've mailed it, and many times it comes back returned undeliverable.
That's not to say.
Yeah, and part of the reason of this is I'm thinking of the court orders would say direct the court challenge to serve the candidates listed as, the addresses set forth in on the petition.
What are the court cases saying?
As I said, the court case requires a complete address, and the residence address, and if the mailing address is different, that has to be set forth as well.
The zip code is essential to the address.
Yes, our policy has been, we would not mandate that for apartment numbers, notwithstanding some complaints that Manhattan without apartment numbers, in other boroughs, you won't get delivery.
Right. And the other problem is they actually have the zip codes here on these other, for the
Yeah,
committee.
committee to fill vacant,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Not for the
I
candidates.
guess when we're talking about zip codes, I think you might have a difference of opinion whether it's essential or not. Oftentimes, when you're conducting transactions, zip codes are not, they're always left out. So the zip code is really for mailing, so I guess if the spirit of it is because you want to file notice, then maybe that's a good argument for it. But in terms of identifying where someplace is, there's only one 255 West 84th Street. Respect whether you're not in other zip codes, really.
But again, both the statute sets forth, I'm gonna pull up, that if the mailing address is different from the residence address, it has to be set out. So it's both, you need both the residence address and also the post office address, which will include the zip code if it's not identical. That's the statutory form.
Post office address.
So I think this was maybe written for places upstate where you may have been on an RFD route or something,
Main Street.
or Main Street just, and you needed the address, have an address. But again, I also, Commissioners, I think the reason for that is when you look at the court orders, it says, it directs that the service shall be made upon the candidates that the address is set forth in the petition. In other words, it doesn't have,
Right, but that cures the cover sheet, not the petition.
the petition would be, I assume a printer's letter would be the only potential option. And that's gonna be a judgment coming back to you.
Maybe by then, we have a better idea of the issues.
Commissioners, the other thing is, again, not for now, it's whether or not next year you want to consider adding to our specific definition of the rules to make it even more explicit. And in the past, there's been some reluctance to make it explicit. Our rules require on the cover sheet a complete residence address, but we don't define complete.
You know, some things you don't figure you need to define, you know?
I agree with you, Commissioner, I think it's obvious. Mailing letters now, whether it's a bill or anything else, you gotta put your zip code on if you wanna get it delivered. Okay.
Okay, we wrote two separate ones just to make it clearer. On this cover sheet, for this candidate, they both are claiming both of these volumes, but if you look, one appears on only one of these volumes, and then the other appears on the other
For
volume.
the alternate.
For the alternate, down here. Alternate.
And we marked it down respectively. This is
Three.
384. This is 383. But you can see that on the cover sheet, they claim for both alternates, both volumes.
So you just gotta fix the cover sheet.
Yes. And the question then is going to also be, and I believe the party call says it's only one, so in effect they're creating their own primary. For alternate delegate, if they fix both.
It's the Republican Party?
Yes. Well,
Be a hot contest.
for alternate delegate and what district is it? 68, okay. That's it for Manhattan, like the big Brooklyn stack. What?
Stack? Brooklyn or Stack?
Big Brooklyn stack. Okay, so this first one, the cover sheet doesn't have an identification number for the candidate, and there's multiple volumes that the candidate filed, so there's no way to know what volume that cover sheet is for. This one, Working Families, we have a petition that's actually 9 pages, so it technically doesn't require a cover sheet, but it looks as if they have filed a cover sheet, and there's 2 deficiencies. One, they don't identify the volume number, and 2, it is attached to the petition.
And the identification number is
Identification.
fine. And they put it on. The other part that violates our rule is that if it is a cover sheet, which it appears, it's the old, if it looks like a duck, looks like a duck, our rule is that the cover sheet shall be separately filed.
They weren't required to file one, but it
Once they did
seems
it.
as if they did.
Right, but it means, is it curable, one?
Yes, it would be.
How do they cure it?
File an amended cover sheet separately with the correct ID number listed, which would be taking this number over, and then filing the amended cover separately, without, and they wouldn't be filing it with a
But
petition.
if they never have to file it at first.
Well, they just say disregard the cover sheet, we don't want to file a cover sheet.
The problem is that they
Yeah.
filed it with us. I
No, the
agree
problem
with
is,
you.
right, the problem is if they don't
They didn't
comply,
file it.
no, if they don't comply with the NCN notice, we're stuck with a
And we're
petition
off.
that didn't need a cover sheet, and now they're off, because they didn't comply with us.
But yet
But they
gave
never
us-
had to do it.
But they gave us a notice that says if you have problems or deficiencies, let me know. Again, if they did not give us this document, we would
No,
have.
I don't disagree that that's a cover sheet.
Yeah.
That's clearly a cover sheet. They were trying to comply with our rules, but did not realize that you did not have to
Right.
do a cover sheet.
The cure could either be them fixing it or saying we withdrew, we want to withdraw,
Can they withdraw the cover sheet?
How would they do
They
that?
can't
They
withdraw it.
can't.
It's filed with the board.
Right, it's already filed.
It will be given a 3-day notice to file an amended cover sheet correcting the deficiency.
right, just it'd be a shame for someone to be off.
But again, the same way
A
I.
defect on a cover sheet they didn't have to file in the
But,
first
but
place.
commissioners, we've given them notice, it says right here.
Wasn't there a case law last year on
That's
something
different.
similar?
No, that was Scrivener's errors.
Well, no, there was a case law that you can't do an amended cover sheet if
Oh,
you didn't file a cover
right.
sheet in the
No,
first
if
place.
there's no cover sheet at all filed, and it's required by law,
Arm
you're
wheel.
off the ballot. 10 or more
We used to give
pages,
people a
or
chance.
more than 2 volumes. We used to give them a chance saying, the cover sheet wasn't filed, you have to file it. They said, no, it's dead on arrival.
You can't amend something you didn't file in the first place.
So for example, for Mr. Philpotts, which he just did, which said 1, but he had multiple volumes, if he doesn't come in with a cure for any of them, the ones that don't have cover sheets are just out.
Why, aside from the logistics and bureaucracy of it, why can't they withdraw the cover sheet?
Because the policy has been that a document filed with the public body remains on file with the board, or any public body.
Do we have any mechanism by which, sort of like not a declination, but something else that's filed that says,
Not really, because then the answer will be, is give me back my petition, I forgot to number them, I'll fix it afterwards. We have not allowed them to, we do not release original documents. Once filed, they remain with us
it
as
seems
required
that
by
there's,
law.
sufficient contact information, and hopefully it'll all work out, right?
Yeah, I think at that point, right, and again, we've made every effort to educate the candidates and their representatives. If they just read the rules, there wouldn't have been a problem, but there was at least an attempt to comply.
Here, we have 2 issues as well. So the first thing is that both volumes are not the page numbers don't appear, so they're not numbered. And then the other issue, which is, I guess, up for debate, what they've done here is they've included 2 different positions, because one is the unexpired term, and then one is...
No, that's not a problem, because this is based on the state parties, the state board's determination. If you remember, these are one of the vacant assembly seats.
But one of the petitions doesn't have both
Oh,
of those.
then that's
So-
a problem.
Exactly.
So which one is that?
That is 1422.
Okay, so then the defect is that he has to file, that the cover sheet doesn't
Does not
reflect the
match
volume.
the
So in
petition.
fact, they have to file, is this any term on this at all?
They would have to follow different...
No, they have to file 2 cover sheets, which has been filed, because we've had other petitions like that. One reflecting this with no term set forth, one reflecting the 2 terms. The reason they did that is this was a vacancy, the state board issued a certificate of vacancy. However, the Court of Appeals in the case of Barron versus the Board of Elections in the City of New York ruled that unless a special election is called, such a vacancy will be filled as one seat in the November general election. So I think here this is maybe a bootstrap trying to protect themselves. This has no term, so if that's how we're going forward, and if they're the both terms, they're doing it, but you really should have
Two separate cover sheets.
two separate cover sheets. What?
Right, so it's,
This has no term.
the election date is still on the
Right.
top.
The issues
So,
on
but
the cover
really
sheet
it should
not
be
match
is
the petition.
that there should be two cover sheets filed, one for each volume.
Sure.
Yes. It's only a cover sheet defect, and the page numbering defect.
Page number defect. So that's one's prima facie.
No, neither are prima facie. Cover sheet, the petition volume is corrected. Cover sheet does not match petition, right? And no petition, well, it shouldn't be, no, it should be that petition volumes, which one doesn't have it? KG?
1422.
Petition volume 1422 does not, oh, you had match, does not match cover sheet filed. So they gotta correct that. And no page numbers on both volumes. So, and Commissioner, should we maybe be more explicit and tell them to file two separate cover sheets? Okay. Okay. These petitions gotta go back to the petition storage room. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Here's your cover. Here's your other defects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you, that's it.
So now, yeah, we're gonna have, we'll see what comes tonight.
See you guys soon.
Next.